Black Hollow Bridge. A name whispered in fear, a place avoided after dark. Locals knew the stories. They told of tragic accidents, unexplained occurrences, and a haunting presence. Some dismissed it as folklore, others knew better. The bridge held secrets, deadly secrets. The air always felt heavy around the bridge. A thick, oppressive feeling settled over anyone who dared approach. The wind seemed to moan through the rusted railings, carrying whispers of despair. It was a place where the veil between worlds felt thin, where the living could almost touch the dead.
It's just an old bridge. There's nothing to be afraid of.
Four friends, college students eager for adventure, scoffed at the local legends. Mark the skeptic challenged his friends to join him in exploring the bridge. Sarah, always up for a thrill, immediately agreed. Emily, more hesitant, eventually gave in to peer pressure. Only David expressed genuine concern. He had heard the whispers. He knew the truth.
The air feels different here, colder, heavier.
The darkness seemed to press in, amplifying their isolation. As twilight deepened, they parked a safe distance from the bridge. The woods surrounding the area seemed to close in, the trees like gnarled fingers reaching towards them. Despite their bravado, a sense of unease settled over the group. They could feel eyes on them, watching from the shadows. The silence was broken only by the crunch of gravel beneath their feet. Each step felt heavier than the last, drawing them closer to the looming structure ahead.
I can't shake the feeling that we're walking into a trap laid by something not of this world.
David's heart pounded in his chest. The bridge itself was a testament to decay. Rusted metal groaned underfoot. Missing planks revealed glimpses of the rushing water below. The air hung thick with the scent of damp earth and something else. Something metallic and ancient. Fear, pungent and real, settled over them. Each footstep echoed in the stillness, amplified by the growing darkness. The silence was unnerving, broken only by the occasional screech of an owl or the rustle of leaves in the unseen wind. Ahead, the far side of the bridge remained shrouded in an unnatural darkness, as if the night itself was hesitant to approach.
This place, it feels wrong. I don't like this, not one bit.
We've come this far. Let's just keep going.
The group pressed on, each step heavier than the last.
As they ventured further onto the bridge, a sudden gust of wind whipped around them.
It carried a chill that seemed to penetrate their very bones.
With the wind came a sound.
Faint at first, then growing steadily louder.
A low, mournful sobbing that seemed to come from the very air itself.
Did you hear that?
Emily whispered, her eyes wide with fear.
The others exchanged uneasy glances.
Mark, trying to maintain his composure, shook his head dismissively.
But even he couldn't ignore the growing sense of dread that had settled over them. The air crackled with an unseen energy, raising goosebumps on their skin. And then they saw her, a figure standing at the center of the bridge, a woman draped in a flowing white gown. Her long, dark hair obscured her face. She stood perfectly still, yet her sobs echoed around them, filled with an unbearable sadness that seemed to seep into their souls.
Time seemed to stop.
The wind died down, leaving an eerie silence in its wake.
The friends stood frozen, their hearts pounding in their chests.
Fear, raw and primal, took hold.
Yeah, this was no trick of the light, no figment of their imaginations. This was something else entirely. With a gasp, Sarah broke free from her paralysis.
We need to go, now, she cried, her voice trembling.
Turning, she ran back the way they had come. The others hesitated for a moment, their eyes locked on the ghostly figure. Then, as one, they too turned and fled.
The bridge seemed to stretch on forever as they ran.
The sound of their own panicked breaths filled their ears, drowning out the woman's sobs.
But even as they ran, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, that something cold and malevolent was following close behind.
They didn't stop running until they reached the car. Fumbling with the keys, Mark managed to unlock the doors and they piled in, slamming the doors shut behind them. The engine roared to life, breaking the silence of the night. As they sped away, headlights cutting through the darkness, they dared not look back.
Safe inside the car, the terror began to subside, replaced by a bone-deep chill.
They had escaped whatever awaited them on that bridge, or so they thought.
As they drove, the events of the night played over and over in their minds. The sobbing, the figure in white, the feeling of being watched.
David, his gaze fixed on the road ahead, couldn't shake the feeling that something was different. He glanced at his friends, their faces pale and drawn in the dim light of the car. They had been touched by something dark and ancient on that bridge, and he feared it had followed them home.
He wasn't sure how he knew, but he knew one thing with chilling certainty.
They were marked.
And that realization settled over them like a shadow, an unshakable dread that they would carry with them long after this night was over.